You are listening to Detroit Craft Academy, episode number 12.
Detroit Craft Academy. Detroit Crafts with Jody. Detroit Craft Academy.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Detroit Craft Academy. This is episode number 12. I am your host, Miss Jody Lynn, and this podcast is a way for me to ask people a bunch of questions without it being too weird. Ha ha. It's almost summer here, getting excited. 2 more weeks till movement. I hope that y'all have your glow sticks ready, because we're gonna party. On today's episode, I talk with Yolanda Nichelle Curry. Yolanda is a designer, teacher, writer, mother, and entrepreneur. We talk about how she got started and how sometimes life might send you some unexpected twists. I hope that you guys enjoy the show. And if you want to show me some love, head on over to iTunes and review the show. And go and check out the website at DetroitCraftAcademy.com, where you can find links and notes about the show. I hope that you guys enjoy. So, thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah. First, just to start off, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? And how did you get started on what you're doing?
Right, so lifelong Detroiter.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, I'll say I'm a East and West Sider. My family grew up East Side. My grandparents were on the West, so we were always back and forth. I went to high school. I went to University of Liggett. After that, I went to U of M, Dearborn.
Mm-hmm.
I studied industrial design and jewelry design. I hated industrial design.
Yeah.
It was like too rigid and strict for me. I couldn't draw those like super high-tech cars to save my life.
Yeah.
I was like, jewelry is awesome. I can do whatever the heck I want to do. Mm-hmm. And so I studied both, but I preferred the jewelry design.
Yeah.
And after college, what did I do? I didn't know what the hell to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started looking for jobs in the Yellow Pages.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across an art organization called Young Artists and Company.
Mm-hmm.
I went and I taught fine arts with her for like 2 years before she closed down.
Was that in the city?
It was here in the city. She was right up there on West Grand, right in New Center.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got tired of the nonprofit. She had been doing it 20 years, so, But anyways, and then after that, I was working. I was a jewelry apprentice at a jewelry shop in Berkeley. And I worked with a high-end jewelry store in Southfield. And then somehow I got back into teaching. For me, it's always been jewelry or teaching.
Yeah.
I never went to school for teaching, but it's there.
You're good at it. So, you, literally out of college, you just, went right into a creative job.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
Most people have to, waitress or,
Right.
do something, that's awesome.
Right. I was scared and I was stressed the hell out. As soon as I graduated, I realized I don't know what to do. I realized that in the arts curriculum, especially design, you're taught to go work for somebody.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, who do I go work for with this jewelry degree? I was just like, I just didn't know what I was doing. So I think I was really stressed to find a job kind of in arts and design somewhere.
Yeah.
So I hit the pavement. I just figured it out.
So then, how did you get into your jewelry company? When did that start?
That slowly happened, right at the end of college as well. The last year of college, I'd make something. Of course, a family member, somebody would see it. Like the same old story for everybody.
Yeah.
Somebody saw it and they wanted it, and then somebody else was like, "Oh, can you make me one?" Same thing, and I was making metal and gemstone jewelry for a while. And my first account was with Talani Rose on Cass and Willis down from Avalon. And then I was asked by they're not there anymore. Detroit Design Lab. They used to be downtown, like Griswold, kind of a collective, kind of
I
a
remember that
experimental.
story, yeah.
And so we had a show at the Renaissance Center, and they asked us all to create something Detroit themed. Mm-hmm. So that's when I did my first kind of D necklace, Old English D. And it got good reviews, so I was like, oh, so what else can I do with the D? And then that might have been 2005 or something. Mm-hmm. So then that's when kind of I was like, oh, I can really do something with this and really make a business out of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's when it initially started. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So did you grow up in a creative family? Like when you were going to school, was it like something that your family supported you going to school for like art?
Yeah. I would say yeah. For middle school, I went to Waldorf. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people have the misconception that it's only for artsy gifted kids, which is not true, but a lot of the curriculum centers around art. So I was always exposed to it. And then even when young, you know, my mom always took us to galleries or encouraged us to, you know, be creative at home or whatever. But I first went to college for like biomedical engineering something. And then like in my junior year, right, I don't even remember it anymore. In my junior year, I was like, this science isn't for me. Like, no. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to art school. She's like, okay, go ahead. I always knew you loved art. I always hope you would find your way back to it. I was like, really? You know.
Couldn't have you told me this before?
Yeah. But even after all these years, though, something about science is still, you know, draws me. Mm-hmm. And there's times where I, you know, have that what if, you know, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Like, I should have known better to stick it out in science. But the jewelry has kind of been like a good mix of science and art, too. The metallurgy.
Yeah.
So
I think, like, I definitely think that there is, like, a common thread between, like, art and science. Like, in such like a way that, I don't know, like art in its own way is like its own science and science is art. And there's definitely a common thread there.
Yeah, there's a connection.
So was making jewelry the first business that you owned?
Yes.
Is anyone else in your family like a business owner or entrepreneur?
No one before me that I know of. My children now have their own little jewelry businesses. As a matter of fact, my daughter has a show Saturday, and I think she has a show the Saturday after that. And I was like, I thought I had given up vending for a while, but no, I will be assisting her.
Yep.
Yes, because she said, Mommy, I need to make my money. So
they're gonna be like the next like multi-million-dollar company.
Right. I was just like, just do it smarter than I did. Though.
Yeah. So now you are working with Build Institute. Can you tell us a little bit about what Build is and what you do there?
Right. So we call ourselves kind of a idea activator, small business incubator. We host quarterly business plan courses for those looking to start businesses or some existing businesses. You know, a lot of people say the business plan is dead, which is really not true because when you're seeking funding, you know, funders and investors still want to see that business plan. They still want to see the numbers and the projections. So, you know, there's a lot of people in the city, in the region with awesome ideas. Everyone doesn't have a business background. Everyone doesn't have resources or access to kind of information. So we want to make that really accessible. Like equitable entrepreneurship is really kind of our mission. Majority of people who come through our courses are women and women of color. And you see that, you know, across the country as far as who's opening businesses. So we want to do all we can to support that.
Yeah.
And then everyone on staff is like a business owner too. So we you know, we say Phoebe for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs, you know. Kind of corny, but hey, it's true.
I like it.
It's true. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like, when you started working at Build, did you have, like, a pretty good idea of business? Has, like, Build helped you also, like learn more about business?
Right, very true. So I first heard of Build in 2013, and I actually took the class then. So the Build course definitely helped me finish my business plan because I had been playing with it for like 2 years. I was like, whatever, this is stupid.
Yeah.
So then when I took the class, I could actually complete my business plan, and I actually felt like I knew what I was doing. And so, yes, now being kind of on the other side and being, in the office and doing the work, I am learning a lot kind of on the other end around, how the city works, more about licensing and permitting and, more of the legal aspects of it. And then just being in the same room with, some decision makers or people who operate business in a different capacity. It's really forcing me to think about business differently.
Yeah.
I got to a point where my business was like, being that one woman show with 2 little kids. It's just like, yeah, something's got to give.
That's a rough
So
gig.
it's very, thank goodness
I'm a one-woman show, and like I can't even imagine having like anyone else to take care of.
Right. So yeah, there's definitely benefit to working at Build. I had my reservations about going back to work, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
So, what is your favorite thing about being an artist and an entrepreneur?
I'm stubborn. Like, I love doing what I want to do when I want to do it. I love kind of owning my schedule. I will say I love and I loved. It makes such a difference for me sometimes to, like, wake up and get my day started at 11 or 12 if I, if it's up to me, or to run certain errands
whenever you want.
When everybody else is not running those errands.
That's my favorite thing.
Right. And then really, I think the most important thing for me was being at home with my kids when they were younger. Like, because I worked at home, I could go on their field trips. I could volunteer in their room. Like, I could stay home with them when they were sick. Given I do have flexibility at Build, there's definitely a difference between doing your own thing.
Yeah.
And being on the clock elsewhere. Yeah, for entrepreneurship, to me, like, it equals freedom.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right,
Yeah. And do you think there's anything, like, specifically about, like, being in the city of Detroit that, like, you like about running business?
It's definitely like community. It's definitely tight-knit. Majority of my friends are business owners.
Yep.
Like, going to a fair is like a little reunion. And then all those business owners collaborate and do business with each other. I appreciate going to, my friends' shops, or either going to a fair and shopping from everyone I know, and then I don't have to go to the mall. You know what I'm saying?
And just supporting.
Exactly. And I know where my money is going. I know I'm supporting you. I know, like, this is putting food on your table and not, like, opening up another big box store in whatever city. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely like a supportive community amongst kind of entrepreneurs. I think there are some people who kind of don't understand that aspect of it. But when you realize that collaboration is the key and so important, it just makes everything so much more worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like, that's like definitely, like, just like reaching out and being a part of the community.
Right.
Like the idea of, like, how just, like, as business people, sometimes we're like, okay, we can do it all ourselves. We can take on all of that. You can't. You can't. Like, if you're not part of a community, you're not gonna, like.
Right.
how are you supposed to give your business to anyone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you realize that you can't do it all, and you know that you need to outsource, and you know you can reach out to people for resources, you know, who's your accountant or who's your lawyer or whatever, and you trust those people, so then of course you trust their referrals. Like, it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Because you're not going it all alone.
Do you have like favorite shows that you've done in Detroit?
That's a good question. I barely did any shows last year. I took a very intentional break. You know, Dally in the Alley has been fun. I did a couple years in recent, and then like one of their shows like 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, in the last couple years, some Eastern Market shows were
Yeah.
good. Gosh, like I can't even think of all the shows right now.
Yeah.
But
That's
you know,
okay.
there's definitely been some, you know, some really good shows, fun shows. Yeah, and that's what makes them.
Yeah.
That's what helps if they're fun. If they're fun.
So I know that you took some time off. So the question is, what has been the biggest challenge that you have had to overcome?
During the time off, or just
Or
in
just
general?
like, you know, you personally
Life.
with business, life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a loaded question. I think when it came to business, I felt like I was never doing it good enough. But I rarely took the time to kind of acknowledge how far I had come and what I had been doing. It's definitely hard to be a business owner, you know, single mom.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize that, and, you know, give myself a pat on the back. And so for me, business was always up and down, kind of around the birth of the kids. You know, before kids, I'm like, yeah, I'm going in all the way. And it was like, no, I have a kid. And then, you know, the kid is like 3 months, and I'm like, yeah, I got these orders to do. And it was like, no, that's not reality.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I realized that I couldn't do anything until my child was 3 years old. Like, that's when I really felt like I could get back to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't give myself credit for that, or give myself room for that. Like, I always felt like I wasn't being a good business owner, or I wasn't being a good mom, and there was no happy medium. So really overcoming that was a big challenge. And then, and as you know, the breast cancer last year, I think that's probably been the biggest challenge of my life ever. And really dealing with the breast cancer and healing, and, you know, doing this kind of non-traditional route, going the non-traditional route. It really forced me to really look at life and really evaluate, you know, and what are my priorities, what's important, why am I doing certain things that I'm doing, and really giving me a chance to breathe around jewelry and around business. Like, last year was the first year that I really didn't do any jewelry for like 15, 16 years. And it was hard because I felt like I'm giving up. You know, I feel like a loser right now. I'm not doing, like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
But I had to give myself a break, and really take that time to focus on, you know, healing. So that was probably the biggest challenge I've ever faced.
Yeah. And you're completely cancer free now.
I am. That's what they told me in January. I'm sticking to it. Right.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Right. Thank you.
I'm so happy.
Thank you. Me too, right? And sometimes it's like, it's hard to believe. I'm like, wow, only in June I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's already, you know, it's almost a year already. And it's like, it was like a dream. Like, did that really happen? Did we really go through all that?
Yeah.
But yeah, we did. So.
Yeah. So how has, or your outlook on life and business changed?
Right. So the diagnosis and dealing with everything really forced me to slow down. I realized I had been, like, stressed out, just worrying about every freaking thing. And everything was, you know, just so urgent, and the what ifs. Like, I was not relaxed at all. And I was, you know, with the new job, I was pressuring myself to really perform and
Yeah.
do everything right and work extra hours and all this. And it was just like, yeah, I'm not doing anybody a service. So it forced me to slow down. And then as far as business, it also made me realize that I do have other interests, I was, in the beginning, I was concerned, like, jewelry is all I know, and that's how people know me, and if I'm not doing jewelry, then what use am I to the earth? That's how I felt. But it's allowed me some time to, really dive back into my writing. Like, there's some books I'm going to write, and just investigate other things. And I thought that I would, like, really, really miss jewelry right now. And I hate to admit that I don't miss it. Like, I miss being creative.
Yeah.
But I don't miss, like, sitting at my bench, like, soldering and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then especially, like, after the cancer, I was like, I don't want anything to do with any chemicals and metals. So I'm just like,
Put that aside for a minute.
Right. I can find a manufacturer. They can do it all. Like, yeah. So it's been a very interesting kind of turn of events.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So my ideas about business now are, how can I create more passive income, or what other business models can I look at, or, stuff like that. So
yeah, that's definitely something I was thinking about is like passive income and just things like that.
Right,
It's a very interesting.
Yes, I need to make money in my sleep.
Exactly.
Yes.
Somebody just give me money while I'm sleeping.
Right.
Let's see. Do you think that there are let's see. What are some of the current challenges that you are having?
Just any?
Yeah, or just like, with like work, or maybe just like, like you coach and teach right now entrepreneurs and business folks, right?
Right. I do a little of the teaching. I'm about to start doing more of like the youth entrepreneurship workshops and things like that. In the past, I taught like the Etsy entrepreneurship class. My role is more kind of registration, recruitment, seeking partnerships and things like that regarding like the youth classes. So I guess challenges, for me in this role are more creative.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's new for me to, sit behind a computer in this aspect, for long periods of the day. I always joke like I'm the little 5-year-old at the office because I'm always up getting water or getting a snack or something. Because I'm like, I can't sit.
It's like me when I was at tech shop. That's like, I had like being around a whole bunch of creative people that are doing things all the time, doing all these awesome things, and I'm stuck behind a desk.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I love build and I love the atmosphere and everything. So I'm finding kind of more creative, ways and outlets to kind of insert my, innovation and creativity in there.
Yeah.
So it's not a huge challenge, but I have to recognize that I might work differently than other people in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everyone does. I think that's totally acceptable and completely okay.
Right.
So if you could go back in time and give yourself advice, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh boy. Don't think so long about things. Just, trust. Trust and make a decision. I think I always had this weird kind of anxiety about things and distrust about things. I always wanted to be, for example, I always wanted to be in California. And after college, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna move. And then it was like I came back home from college and, got comfortable and was having fun and yeah, I'm gonna move next year, Then it was like, oh wait, I'm having a daughter. No, I can't move. I got family, It's like, okay, we're gonna move soon. Oh wait, no, now we're having a son. Yeah, no, I gotta be with family. So little things like that. I mean, I definitely love my children. I don't regret. Who knows if I had, and my daughter said this the other day. She's like, well, mommy, if you had moved to California right after college, we wouldn't be alive. I'm like, you're probably right. But all that to say, I would tell my younger self to trust myself and kind of trust, the universe a little bit more.
Yeah.
And don't be so afraid, and just kind of take more risks.
Yeah.
And live a little bit more fully, and forget all the worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching you, what you went through, and like I've had other people in my life that have had the very similar things going on all at the same time has been like really inspiring to me too, because I can see like life being reborn almost, like it's like a second chance or like opening. It's very inspiring. You're like, I know.
Yeah, certain things that you go through will give you a totally different outlook on life. And all that sounds cliche, but it's just so true.
Yeah.
Because you realize the fragility of life, and you realize that I'm sitting over here worried about such and such, where really that shit doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like forget all, like seriously,
like all the worry, all the
crap, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I saw somebody earlier today on Facebook posting this question about hating their job and should I continue to like work here because the money is amazing, but I'm miserable in my job. I'm like, what?
The answer's clear.
Yeah, like that's not.
The answer's clear.
It's right in front of you. Why are you even bringing this up and raising it?
Right. If that money is amazing, like keep saving your amazing money so you can hurry up and quit.
Yeah, right. Save the amazing money and go find something else while you're doing it.
Absolutely.
So, what advice would you give to those just starting off?
Don't quit your J job. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real, because you still have to support yourself while you're building.
Don't feel bad about having that.
Right. And really, if you're serious about starting off and doing your own thing, you have to work that side business, like a part-time job. You got to put yourself on a schedule. You got to be diligent. You got to be consistent.
Yeah.
You find most results from people who are the most consistent and driven. You gotta have your why. Like, why are you doing it? Why is it important? Why does it mean anything? And also realize that what you're doing, if you really like what you're doing, and you think everybody's gonna like it because you really like it, like, that's not to burst any bubbles, but it's usually not how it works. I will say that majority of the jewelry that I've sold, like, some of the things I'm like, this is not my favorite. I really don't care for this piece. But people bought. I was like, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And the stuff I really put all my blood, sweat, and tears into, and I loved it. Like, people didn't buy it. I was like, what the hell?
That's always what happens with me, too.
Always
like, drawings, just like I'll love something, and then no one will buy it.
Right. And do that market research, too, because I was like, oh, everyone will love my jewelry because it's Detroit jewelry, and everyone in Detroit will love it, and they will buy it, and they will be happy, and, rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
It was like, no. Majority of people who wanted my Detroit jewelry were people from outside of the city, outside of the state. People in the city didn't care to buy it. It was people in the suburbs who wanted it. And I realized that, luckily I realized it, but I realized it later than, I could have.
Yeah.
So kind of, test marketing and doing that market research, it'll save you some time and headaches early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, too, if there's things that you don't know about business, there's always people who are there and willing and able to, pass on some information or contacts or whatever. Plug for Build Institute. We always have networking events. We're always sharing resources. So there's a big community of people with information and who are very happy to help.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll definitely post all the links and everything to build in the web page and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What has been the funniest or weird thing that you've encountered, like, running your own business? Like, whether it be, like, dealing with somebody at a fair or, like, anything.
Funny or weird?
Or, like, even just, like, the weirdest things you've heard somebody say to you at a fair.
Gosh. Oh, gosh. I can't think of too much. I mean, I guess I've had, some awesome experiences.
Or, yeah, like, what has been your favorite?
Yeah, what's my favorite? I think my favorite was, like getting and this wasn't at a fair, but getting my first, like, international sale.
Oh, yeah.
So some DJs I know, they're always traveling and playing international shows. And I think somebody saw the DJ wearing the earrings in Croatia, and they were from Germany or Belgium or I forget. So that was a really awesome experience. And then after that, they contacted me a couple months later. They're like, "Yeah, we're coming to Movement, this year, and we'd love to see you run into you at a party or whatever." And I was ready, but my son was sick that night, so I didn't make it out.
Yeah.
But it's just cool, kind of developing these relationships with people, abroad or across the country or whatever, just over jewelry. A lot of online sales always came with stories. My dad grew up in Detroit, or, such and such grew up in, so always these stories to kind of, connect people, purchasing for, their wedding or whatever the case is. So that's always been kind of like that heartwarming aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I am providing a purpose. This is important to people.
Yeah, your jewelry is awesome.
Right, thank you.
Do you, like, for the next upcoming year, or do you have any plans for your jewelry line?
Good question. This is May. I think at this point I'm just kind of like just getting rid of all the inventory I have. Like, I haven't really penned any shows. People are still ordering online, and I haven't created anything new. I think I'm still kind of on a little mental break around the jewelry. Like I'm, supporting my kids with their jewelry business. So yeah, like I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking of different ways of doing, like, the jewelry business. But I don't have anything on the calendar yet.
Yeah.
So
And you said
I'm taking it slow.
Yeah, and you said earlier that you're writing now.
Yeah.
Are you working on anything that you want to share?
Right. I think this whole journey around breast cancer deserves some documentation. Especially because, I took a totally different route. I didn't do the traditional radiation and surgery. And, a lot of people were super surprised in the beginning. I got some kind of flack from some family. But most of all, people have been, encouraging and supportive. And during that time, I just met and heard about and ran into so many women going through the same thing. It was like, what kind of epidemic is this? What is this? This is wild and crazy. Yeah. So, with a lot of research that I did for myself, I'm just uncovering kind of what people are going through, and, kind of like the medical establishment as a business, as industry, and how it's kind of disconcerting. And so I hear a lot of people like, "Oh my gosh, Yolanda, you have to share your story." Or I'm getting connected with women who want to know my experience because they're just very afraid to go through the traditional treatments. And so it's like, there's like a platform there, and like, people want to hear it. Yeah. People need to hear it. So I'm doing a lot of writing around that. And hopefully, I'll have something to share. Yeah. In about a year.
Yeah. Do you want to do, like, publish or online, or?
Like both. Yeah. Like both, kind of working on developing, like, a blog just to provide that info and provide that, platform and forum. Like, already started with a Facebook page, just where people can come and just, talk about and dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The life celebration one.
Right,
yeah.
right, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to keep celebrating.
I like it.
Yes.
So, like, was your treatment, you didn't do radiation or anything, did you? You just diet, right?
I did the cryoablation or cryotherapy, where they actually freeze like the cells. They freeze the cancer cells, and then they freeze like a large kind of radius around it, just in case. So then over time, like those dead cells, they just like are eliminated from my body. And then what's interesting is that the DNA of the dead cells are now revealed, so that my body has access to that DNA and they know what to look for now. So in the event that, something happens, which it won't, in the event, my body kind of knows what to look for, how to fight or whatever. And then beyond that, it's just like really kind of eating clean, more of an alkaline diet. My body was really acidic, and that's perfect, host for like cancerous cells.
Yeah.
And then just, staying more active, and then really focusing in on, like no stress, like the whole, like really mental aspect of healing. I do a lot of meditation. I kind of fell off my yoga. I got it back to yoga.
Yeah.
But just really paying attention to how I eliminate stress from my life, because, a stressful body is another perfect host for disease and stuff.
Yeah.
And majority of people are stressed out, you know what I'm saying? So,
do you have any like tips or like,
right.
or like what have you done that has helped you de-stress? Other than like knowing that you need to take time.
Exactly. And that's the hard part, because you're like, okay, so where do I do? Where do I start? Like, I literally have a chart on my wall, and it has, I don't know, maybe 12 or 15 different categories. And it's kind of listed by week, and I have to check in with myself. Was I creative this week? Did I do some reading? Did I do some writing? Did I do some exercise? Did I eat healthy? Did I have, positive interaction? Did I have any, did I get any hugs this week?
Yeah.
Like, literally, did I get my massage? Did I get my chiropractor? Did I go to see my chiropractor? Did I get enough sleep? Did I laugh? Like people take these things for granted, and some people might laugh at this, but like, I have to do this to check in. And then, there could be, a couple days where I'm feeling like crap. And then I look at my chart, I'm like, wow, I didn't check off any of those boxes. Like, I literally didn't laugh yesterday. Like, that's like, what kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah.
And that's simple. Simple. Like, oh, I didn't go outside and get sunshine yesterday, and then it's like, oh, that's why I feel like crap, because I went 3 days of, working in the office or working on a report, and I didn't come up for air. So I have to keep myself in check like that.
Yeah.
Or I get real irate, I get real stressed, and, so meditation is on that chart, exercise, like all aspects of my life. Were there any social activities this week? So, yeah, I have to check in.
Well, even, like, running a business, like, almost a year ago, like, I went through this period where, like, I didn't realize how bad I was taking care of myself. I wasn't taking care of myself at all, and completely, like, didn't even realize it. And, like, I had to take a step back and say, oh, my gosh, I don't know that person in the mirror. Like, just, like, I think that's like something that running your own business, you definitely have to figure out time management.
Exactly. And you can run yourself down. Like, in college, we used to do 24 and 36 hours to get a project done. And then it was like no big deal. But now it's like, it's 1 in the morning. Like, what the Right. And literally, like, the last time I did an all-nighter, It had to be like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So my son was probably like 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't operate the next day. I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta drive these kids to school, and then I'm like, this is some bullshit. I would stay up all night before a show, getting stuff done, and then go to the show and have to sit for 8-10 hours, like interacting with customers. I'm like, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, I'm putting those kids to bed at 9:30. And I'm like, you better hurry up and go to bed because I'm about to turn my light off.
Yeah.
like sleep is
no
one
more
of the
snacks.
biggest. No. I gotta get my sleep. I gotta, make it a priority.
Yeah.
Among other things, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't run the business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's like I don't know. That's like just like a huge thing.
Yeah, and the more you see it and the more you talk about it, like you're starting to see kind of these, little workshops or little roundtables pop up around entrepreneurship and self-care.
The self-care one that Build had a couple, well, it's more than a couple weeks ago now.
Right.
Like a month almost. Or more. I don't know. Time stops and you just don't know anymore. Yeah, it was an interesting one. My absolute favorite tip was that watching animal videos helps you. Like if you watch, I think it was like 15 minutes of cute baby animal videos a day, you'll be like 45% happier or something.
You'll feel better.
Like some weird statistic. I like that there's a statistic on watching like cat videos.
Seriously. I mean, if it makes you laugh, my kids, I finally let them get a cat since we moved. And it's another statistic. Like if you have, a pet, you're so much happier, you're living longer or whatever. And this cat, like, we call it cat, dog, horse because it's all over the place, like, all the time, galloping, and it's just nocturnal, and it keeps me up at night. But, there's times where I let him sit on my lap, and I'm petting him, and I'm like, okay, is this working? Am I stress-free? Do I feel better? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not a pet person anymore. I'm like, okay, get off my lap. I'm done. Go play with him. I'm like, yeah. So... I try to be stress-free with the cat, but I think it creates a little stress for me.
Yeah. No, I can understand that.
It's like having another child. I love my children.
Oh, yes. Living with all the little creatures.
Yes, absolutely.
So if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yes. So, let's see. I'm on Instagram and social media. Well, Instagram and Facebook. I really don't do my Twitter that much. My email is thedjewelry@gmail.com. THED as in dog jewelry @gmail.com. My Instagram is thedjewelry. My Facebook, I have, private Facebook page, Yolanda Nichelle. But then my kind of health page is Cancer Free Naturally. So that's where we're, kind of having dialogue, not only about cancer, but just, healthy lifestyle in general.
And that's a public page.
And that's a public page, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely put links to all that in the blog and space.
Cool. And then I still have my Etsy page up. I don't know what it's called. That one might still be called the D Collection. Either way. And then there's my other website, thedjewelry.com. So yeah, it shows, thedjewelry.com has a lot of wonderful jewelry listed. Most of it says it's sold out. But the things that I still have in inventory are still listed.
On there, yeah.
Like, I can't get rid of the page yet. Like, I'm not making that beautiful Detroit ring that people keep asking for, but I can't take my page down yet.
Yeah.
Not ready for the finality of it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you got two little business entrepreneurs.
I know.
Like, what are they doing?
I know.
They're both doing jewelry.
They're both doing jewelry, so they've drawn out their designs and things, and I laser cut them for them. And, they're adding the findings and making, necklaces and earrings and things. Yep. But I'm trying to teach them too. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but you really got to get into some passive income. You really got to do something different. They're like, Mommy, what are you talking about? I'm like,
Mommy doesn't want to laser cut these for you anymore.
Right. My daughter the other day, she's like, Mommy, can you cut some new designs for me? She said, I'm going to draw some new designs and stuff. I'm like, I don't have time to like format them and make them, vector ready. I'm like, I feel bad, but I'm like,
yeah,
your show is this weekend. I don't have time. Oh. Sorry. Well, Mama, we have to do my webpage. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like, so yeah, it's weird. I feel like I'm like recreating.
Well, she is a mini you.
I know. Yeah, we got to do business differently.
Mini me.
Yes.
Aren't kids born nowadays just knowing how to build websites?
Seriously, it seems like it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they keep me young.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite book that you're reading right now?
Good question. I'm always reading like 5 or 10 books at once. I started doing a lot of audiobooks. It helps when I'm driving or washing dishes. Right now I'm listening to Spiritual Economics by, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. Butterworth. Somebody Butterworth, okay. I believe. So that's a good one. I'm also reading Leadership. That's not the whole title. But like one of the Zingerman's founder, Ari.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What is that one about?
It's really about leadership in business and looking at it differently. Their approach is really, we don't lead like top down. We need to lead bottom up, and everybody's really kind of serving everyone else. And his whole like 12 principles of leadership or 12 principles of business. Yeah, I'm still reading
That's it. That's okay. Ask me to explain anything. I just get like the eye roll anytime I try to explain anything to anyone. I almost named this podcast Jody Lynn Rambles On because normally that's what I do.
That's a good name for it though.
Well, I didn't want to go like too. Yeah. I mean, I play banjo and some, it's just like it's a little too. Little too country sounding. I'm just rambling. Right.
That's funny. Oh, see, is that kind of, do you have music, like, to start off the podcast?
So a friend of mine, I guess I've never even actually talked about this, the theme song for the show, I was, like, talking to a friend through text, and I was telling him how I was doing the podcast, and he's like, oh, do you have a theme song? And I go, no, I was going to do, like, a little banjo ditty, probably. And literally, within 5 minutes, he shoots this file over, and I could not stop laughing. It's, like, the funniest beginning of, I don't know, like, it's, like, so weird. But, like, I loved it. And he even, like, well, let me do it better. And I was just like, no. Cool. It's so good. You were super stoned and you made that for me, and I love
Fun.
it.
That's good. That's
good. And do you have a favorite album or music that you're listening to right now?
Let's see. Right now, I'm listening to Skybreak, and it's actually an album by a local musician. He doesn't live here now, but he's from Detroit. Zoe with an exclamation point.
Is that Z-O?
Z-O. Z-O exclamation point. And, he's like writer, producer, like musician, and he brings in all this awesome talent to like, contribute to the song, sing over, whatever. And I feel bad that I barely knew about him previously. He's a little younger than me, but just like awesome talent. So I've been listening to him, and then, I think I've been on like a Prince Michael Jackson stint for like, since,
since forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
right.
Thanks for coming on the show.
This was fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed interviewing you.
I'm glad we got to laugh.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate it.
That's the best part. I mean, honestly.
Absolutely. I can go check it off my list.
And that concludes episode number 12. I hope that you guys enjoyed my interview with Yolanda. If you'd like to find out more about Yolanda, head on over to DetroitCraftAcademy.com where you can find links and notes about the show. And until next time, keep on crafting your dreams.